The theme for Energy Asia 2025 is delivering Asia's energy transition. The consensus seems to be that that transition will happen at different speeds in different places, especially in this region, where economic growth and poverty reduction are priorities. Now, I spoke to the head of Australia's Woodside Energy, and I asked her about demand for lower carbon liquefied natural gas, or LNG, but also about efforts to decarbonize her industry.
We do think LNG has a very long bridge ahead of it. The great thing about LNG is it provides in some ways, a floating, very cold pipeline from places that have gas supply to places that don't. And whilst many nations would love to develop their own domestic gas resources, unfortunately, there are a lot of nations around the world that don't have those resources. Our business is centered in Australia. We've got a large business in North America as well, two parts of the world that have been blessed with very abundant natural gas resources. But we talk to our customers in places like Japan, Korea, other parts of Asia, even in Europe. They don't have those domestic resources. So as they think about their energy needs and how they're going to meet those energy needs, they need to be importing. So there's a really important role that a reliable, trusted supplier like Woodside can play in helping those nations meet their energy security ambitions.
You've been particularly active as well in Myanmar, Malaysia, Timor-Leste. Where in Southeast Asia are your strategic priorities given the rising demand in LNG?
Yeah, well, look, a lot of our focus remains in Australia. We've got some very significant gas fields that are already in production. We're developing the Scarborough gas field, and that's expected to have first LNG cargo in 2026, and very excited to be able to bring that supply to market. You're right that over the years we've had a variety of exploration projects in other parts of Southeast Asia. We do continue to take a look at exploration and potential development opportunities, but for the very near term we're focused on developing the projects we have in Australia, as well as developing the projects that we have underway in North America.
I'm also interested, because we're in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia, Woodside has collaborated with Petronas for a carbon capture scheme. Can you update us on that progress?
Well, look, we've had a very long and good relationship with Petronas for many years. We've worked together outside of Malaysia. We've got technology collaborations. Our two companies know each other quite well. And new energy is a space where we'd like to be able to do a bit of work in Malaysia. I think the government here has been very forward-leaning around things like CO2 and CCS, and providing the right legislative framework to be able to do cross-border CO2 imports. So those are the sorts of things that we would be interested in exploring in Malaysia.
A little bit about Woodside's energy transition. You've pledged some $5 billion towards new energy by 2030. Some say that's still a small slice compared to your total fossil fuel business. What specific milestones or technologies are you prioritizing in that $5 billion investment?
Yeah, I'll make 2 points. One is we've been very focused on the technologies that we think we can bring a competitive advantage to. So we've focused on low carbon molecules and CCS, so carbon technologies, where we think we're able to use the skills that we've developed over 35 years in LNG development, the large-scale plant development and safe operations, to apply to things like ammonia and hydrogen. CCS, of course, is very similar to the work we do to pull gas out of the reservoir. You're just pushing gas in. So those are the technologies that we're focused on. The critical path to being able to invest really is the market conditions. The market conditions are not evolving as fast as we might have thought 3 or 4 years ago. Some of the targets that were set by nations around the world for how much low-carbon ammonia or low-carbon hydrogen they wanted to have, they're falling short of those targets. So we need to balance that desire to invest in low-carbon products with the imperative to generate attractive returns for our shareholders. And that's going to end up setting the pace of our investments.
Okay. Are you seeing commercial viability yet in terms of your green hydrogen or carbon capture storage capabilities?
Look, the investment that we did make last year is in a low-carbon ammonia project in Texas. And one of the things we like about Texas is there's a number of different ways to get feedstock, so abundant natural gas that can be used then to convert into hydrogen. There's abundant industrial gas companies and pipelines, and there's a CCS environment and CCS ecosystem that enables carbon to be captured from the production of hydrogen and sequestered. So we made an acquisition last year, and we're talking to buyers in the US, Europe, and Asia around the supply of this lower carbon ammonia when the lower carbon supply comes online in the back half of next year.
Ms. O'Neill is, like many energy executives, under pressure to help the world reach net zero targets, but also a proponent of maintaining the capacity of traditional sources to ensure energy security.